And good morning. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I do want to remind you, coming up on Friday, a very special broadcast. We invite you to join us at Independence Indoor Shooting. We're going to be there having a good time, talking about the Second Amendment, looking forward to, well, just about everything that organization has to offer. In other words, we're talking about master gunsmithing, the Quality Pro Shop, the advanced training. It's going to be a great time, and we look forward to, being at Independence Indoor Shooting. We're going to have people shooting firearms while we're on the facility. And if you're listening, if you're in the Meridian, Idaho location, why not swing by and hang out? We would love to have you. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Our phone number's here. We would love to hear what you have to say. Coming up, we are going to talk a little bit about CBD oil and review the debate from Channel 7 last night. Let's go back to the phones, and we go to Liberal Steve, who patiently held over. Good morning.
Mr. Bubbly, thank you for letting me hold over. Kevin, when I held on to talk to Tommy, but I missed him. You know, a while, I've been going over to Bellevue because I got some personal interests that I've been working on, and I've actually been driving. So I've been going through the Tri-Cities and Yakima and all that. You know, a while back, he talked about special interest and everything. 3 years ago, I was talking about they got to get CBD oils in here. Over 15 years ago, I've been talking about they got to get hemp in here. We still import $15 million worth of powdered hemp, seeded hemp into the United States for no reason. We can grow it, but it's still on that list in the federal government along with cannabis, and there's no reason that cannabis shouldn't be legal. That's what I wanted to talk to Tommy about. And when I asked him what he thought about it, what was it, a year ago when he started running, he said, well, he flew back to Boise, and he was on board with a CEO from Colorado, and he talked about the smell and the parks and everything. What an excuse. Is that the way you judge and go about voting and by what somebody's got to say on an airplane? 80% of Americans die broke. They don't die as CEOs flying in an airplane. 80% of Americans, other than you and me, Kevin, want to have our martini in the evening, whether it's a martini or this marijuana stuff to relax, self-medicate. They tried stopping it many, many years ago on the booze. It didn't work. We're not being adults when it comes to this stuff. Right now, they're calculated with some individuals I know that we lost over $340 million in taxes that could have went to the DOT for the bridges. On the news the other day in the States.
Well, we could lose a lot of money. We could just raise taxes and bring in pot and bring in prostitution, everything else.
Well, you can start there, Kevin, but
no. I mean, again,
you can start there.
I got to tell you, Kevin. I think the lieutenant governor's onto something when he says that first you bring in something, then you bring in something else, and before you know it, we're dope smoking Idaho. I don't want dope smoke in Idaho. I think we have a difficult enough time with people paying attention and being respectful on the roads without being inhibited by smoking the dope.
But you're not being realistic, Kevin.
I am being realistic.
No, you're not, because it hasn't changed a thing as far as the highway and accidents and everything. Yeah, there's probably a lot more involved where there's marijuana, but they never used to check for marijuana in their system.
Well,
and the people that had marijuana and booze in their system.
Plus, it's a gateway. Plus, marijuana is a gateway drug.
Oh, you know it's not, Kevin.
I do know. It is.
You have friends, Kevin, that still smoke marijuana and don't do any other
Let me put it to you this way. If I have friends that are smoking pot, they're not my friends. I'm not down with lawbreakers. Lawmakers, yes.
Yeah,
lawbreakers, no.
You don't have friends all over in that studio and the other studios and all the businesses in Idaho.
No, I don't have friends that smoke pot. If I do, they wouldn't be my friends. I don't hang out with people that break the law.
So, do you have friends that get drunk?
I don't really have many friends. So you're not going to no. I don't have my friends don't get drunk either. But I mean, people mirror my lifestyle. I'm a teetotaler. I'm somebody who has never had hard liquor in his life, has had maybe 3 or 4 wines at church, who, hold on, I'm just giving you a context, who's never had a beer. So I'm not, when you start asking my peer group, my people don't drink.
Kevin, is marijuana addictive?
Yes.
It's never been.
Look at all the people that are smoking the dope and stinking up the joint.
There's a lot of people that drink that aren't addicted to it. Every night there's
apples and oranges.
Here's what I'm saying, Kevin, is we're not talking like adults. We're talking like children.
I think we're talking perfectly like adults.
Well, you just lied.
How did I lie?
You put out a lie. You said marijuana is addictive.
It is. You asked my opinion, and I said that it is.
That's
you talk to people that have been dealing with the drug industry.
Not scientific evidence.
Oh, it is so. Is cocaine addictive?
Where?
Is cocaine addictive?
Cocaine is very addictive.
Just like marijuana.
Very addictive.
Just like marijuana.
No. See, that's just it, Kevin. When adults as yourself put out information like that, the children, the millenniums, and everybody know that you're lying.
It's millennials. It's millennials. Last night, Liberal Steve, thank you for the call and the spirited look. CBD oil did get pretty heated last night at Channel 7.
A marijuana plant, you can extract the THC, which is the hallucinogenic property, and it leaves you CBD oil, which does not have any of that. It's been shown to be effective in lots of different treatments, and I believe this shows the lack of leadership we have right now in the state. There's no reason why this shouldn't have been done before. These families are hurting. They need the CBD oil, and this is just having an executive branch of government that gets something done. There's no reason why physicians can't prescribe it. It will not be the Trojan horse for legalizing marijuana. I'm 100% against legalization of marijuana, but I'm 100% behind getting CBD oil into the hands of these families and patients this year. Now, what you're going to hear is we already have it here. That is simply not true. That is a drug company answer. That's a pharmaceutical answer. We need CBD oil into the hands and families of patients in this state, and the families are desperate for it.
Congressman Labrador.
What the viewers need to understand is that CBD oil actually passed the legislature once, and this past year it passed the House of Representatives and did not get heard in the Senate. The people of Idaho are clamoring for this. The legislature has been responsive, but the only reason it didn't pass is because the governor's office told one chairman that they should stand in the way of the voice of the people of Idaho. And I think that's going to change. Within the first or second week of my administration, I want the legislature to pass the CBD oil bill out of the House, out of the Senate, and I will sign it. I support it. I have supported it at the federal level, and I support it at the state level, and I will do everything we can to make sure that that's one of the first things that we do under my administration.
So you have two people here from the Channel 7 debate, which you're listening to right now on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning. We'll take your calls in a minute at 580-5436 that are down with CBD oil. Now, the Lieutenant Governor, he has a different opinion. By the way, we'll hear from him tomorrow. Let's hear what he has to say.
Lieutenant Governor Little.
CBD oil, we have a program in Idaho. We've got one of the best programs. As a matter of fact, a lot of the research that's coming out of Idaho is how the FDA is going to approve CBD oil. It should be approved in another month and a half that's going to be available. You've got to maintain the quality of it. These kids with these epileptic seizures, it's absolutely critical that we offer this product to them. And we've seen great efficacy in it. But so many times in so many states, you see the start of some kind of loosely defined medical marijuana that quickly morphs into recreational marijuana. The states that have not done that are looking at Idaho, looking at our CBD oil. We had slots in that program that were never filled, but this is a narrow group. These are the kids that are clinically qualified that we know it works for. But if you get a wide open medical marijuana, look at the states that started medical marijuana and quickly it morphs into recreational marijuana. And besides that, they use the CBD oil as a way to get around some of the drug enforcement laws that we need in our state. And I'm all for CBD oil if it's quality controlled.
Well, Dr. Alquist, I see you shaking your head.
Yeah, I mean, that's just simply not true. I mean, you talk to the patients, and it's not. You're saying that CBD oil is going to go to legalize marijuana. CBD oil does not have any THC in it, and it's not available. That is a pharmaceutical answer.
So there you have it. They get into it a little bit more. And whether you agree with the CBD oil or not, this is another action point. There were two action points last night during this debate from Channel 7, which you're listening to now on KIDO Talk Radio. One was the debate back and forth concerning the compare and contrast ads or negative ads. The other was this one. Dr. Ahlquist at the center of it, both times, number one with Congressman Labrador, this time with Lieutenant Governor Brad Little.
That is an answer from someone that's a politician. That just is. And it's not the needs of the people. The people are leaving our state. Parents, you put a child in the hospital. Can you imagine putting your child in the hospital and having to illegally bring CBD oil in because it's the only thing that stops their seizure? That's what's going on right now. So we can listen to a reason behind the politics, but this is where politics before people has got to stop. And this is the most glaring example, I think. Raul and I are going to agree on this.
Yeah, I agree with Tommy. I mean, this is
I know you're all shocked.
This is ridiculous. There is no pathway from CBD oil to medicinal marijuana to recreational marijuana. There's none. And I think they keep using this excuse again and again and again. There are people that are in need. There are people that are hurting. And we have passed it out of the legislature. The people of Idaho have spoken through their legislators. And I think it's time that we made it legal in Idaho. I am against medicinal marijuana. I am against recreational marijuana. But they keep using this excuse, and I think it's preposterous.
But it's going to be available in June.
From the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, everything we give to our kids, every quality controlled drug we give to our kids.
Brad, they're giving it to our kids right now. It's just from another state.
But there's no quality. There's no quality standards. That bill said it has to be certified by a lab, not an FDA lab, not a certified lab. It's got to, if we're going to give it to our kids and going to give parents the hope that it's going to work, we need to know what the quality of the product.
But Brad, respectfully, this is where leadership matters.
Exactly.
So where is the executive?
There you have it. So now it gets busy, and we'd love to get your thoughts on this at 580-5436. You hear Dr. Ahlquist saying, Brad, that's where leadership matters. The lieutenant governor saying, exactly.
Branch of government getting language right for the families of Idaho. It's a language. So you had problems with the actual language of the bill. But get in there and lead and get the language right so you can do it. But don't let families suffer in Idaho again and again, year after year, because you got pharmaceutical companies, you got the money. Look at the money. You have to follow the money on all these decisions. And when you do, okay, that's why it's happening. This is a prime example of politics before people. We've got to stop it.
Let me just ask you real quickly about medical marijuana, though, because...
And there we have it. We'll get your phone calls at 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Dr. Ahlquist saying politics before people. Now, in defense of the lieutenant governor, you do have to have something certified, right? Dr. Ahlquist fires back. It's big pharma, big money. Again, it gets heated up. Let's go to the phones. And we go to Pro-Life joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, Labrador and Ahlquist are right. And Brad Little is listening to the pharmaceutical companies. They want their competitive drugs, and they, to be which are more harmful and are ineffective. But the real problem is government should just get out of the way. Now, I believe that government should suppress things that are bad for you. Sugar's bad for us. Maybe government should make sugar illegal to some extent. I mean, it's an addictive drug. But the parents and the individual, they need to determine for themselves what's right and wrong and what they ingest into their body. And we shouldn't let government get in the way. Now, I don't think any of them are saying that. And here's the real problem. When you start legalizing something that's addictive or whatever, then the government wants to tax it, get a share of it, and regulate it. And that is really wrong. So I don't know. I don't think any of them are saying that kind of stuff. But
what are you saying?
I'm saying that you should be able to give somebody a ticket for being under the influence of something. But
well, marijuana is addictive.
Of course it is.
Yes.
It's unhealthy.
Thank you, Pro-Life. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Talking about CBD oil, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning. Say, I've been listening with great interest, and I have to tell you, in my younger years, I was totally into marijuana, hashish, cocaine, heroin. It's an absolute gateway drug. You build up a tolerance just like alcohol. And all of a sudden you need more and more and more. And so you get stronger. And as for the addiction, as my friend said to me, oh, I'm not addicted, as he got stoned 5 times a day. I think that guy, Steve, the liberal, was stoned already. But I'm telling you, and now these dispensaries, well, you could get a license where I live in California for $100 with a PA. He won't even ask a question. They just give you a card where you can go into the dispensary and buy anything you want. And I'm telling you, 80% of the people that were in there were under 30, and they were all just getting stoned. It was just...
Well, Tim, we appreciate your bravery and thank you for being drug-free. Traffic and weather together, 8:25. Kevin. Cindy in Caldwell, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Cindy.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. 2 things. I'm so thankful that Tim spoke up, worked on many drug units, and yahoo for you, Tim, for staying clean and sober. I don't know. There's many out there doing 90 and 90, so I am just so blessed that you just are so honest, and hearing people in recovery is just great. That said, Kevin Miller, I just wanted to put it out there that today at 5:30, our mayor in Caldwell is doing a ribbon cutting for our veterans, new building, our hall down there. That's just going to have all kinds of avenues for veterans to get involved in. And then I wanted to thank you again yesterday for letting Michael Snyder go on without interruption. You're great about doing that, and that was wonderful to hear what that virtuous candidate was saying. And the other thing is, just for people, and I'm just going to be clear, not to offend anyone, but our National Day of Prayer is coming this week on May 3rd. And so Recovery Shuffle, we're having, if you just want to come and have pizza at 11:30, that's great. Specifically, we will be praying to the God of our forefathers, and that's the God, it's pretty specific, Esther's God, the God of the Bible. So we will be praying for all our leaders, and I will personally be praying for the media only because I'm just sickened. You always can tell who the most conservative is when the Idaho Press tabloid slams dunk the one candidate that has been given. And this to me is major because that's why I jumped on Idaho Chooses Life has endorsed Raul Labrador. And that is why I will just come out there. I will be praying on my knees for that man, and because he spoke life. And I just will leave it at that. But I hope, Kevin, that to see you maybe at I don't know if you can come to the ribbon cutting, but hopefully you will be praying at your house of worship on National Day of Prayer. Our president actually is having, believe this is how you unite people. You unite people because the people that were killed at the Baptist church, the people from, their families are coming to the White House Sunday. So I'm praying for our president, vice president, Pence, and just speaking life, not death, into this nation. So, Kevin, you have a blessed day. Thanks for doing what you do, and I will catch up to you real soon.
Thank you, Cindy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The return of the international playboy, Pat from Middleton, at KIDO Talk Radio. He calls about four times a year now.
Good morning, Kevin. I'm looking forward to our afternoon date.
Yes, I can't wait to spend about 28 minutes with you this afternoon, sir.
And I'm going to grill you. The tables will be turned, my friend. The tables will be turned.
Okay, so, fair enough. And
I
for people that don't know, Pat hosts a radio show, and he's invited me on his radio show. So we don't want to be too inside. We want to let everybody know what's going on. So We will.
I get to well, I didn't know if you wanted me to say anything about, on your show.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Kevin, I want to say something about Brad Little. I think this point was overlooked by Dr. Alquist. And being a doctor, you would think you'd want the best quality and control of quality that CBD oil would be. Brad Little mentioned that the point that they were making was you just didn't want to pick up any old CBD oil off the shelf. You wanted to make sure it was the best quality for the benefit of the child. And as you know, I had a child that was very sensitive to medicines, and I know that if you gave my child the wrong medicine, it could cost his life. And so I think Brad Little made a great point, and to have Dr. Alquist just walk over as if it was no big deal, like just any CBD oil would work, it's not true. The quality has to be there. And yes, like anything, it is a gateway to that slippery slope that has found its way in almost every access of our lives. Look at where we're at today, and look at how things that you don't like, and look at how they got there. It took 30, 40 years of a little bit of this, a little bit more of that, a little bit more of this. Well, we're already doing this, so why not do that? And this is what happens, and this is why you've got Oregon and Washington all smoking pot all the time now recreationally, because it was that slippery slope that got it inch by inch by inch, and they just keep working at it until they get what they want. And so I agree with Brad Little on this. Now, Raul Labrador is my guy, but Tommy, I'm just surprised that Tommy Alquist, being a doctor, did not recognize the fact that Idaho does have a program that gives patients access to CBD oil, but they're getting good quality CBD oil that really benefits them, and not just some crap that's made off the shelf for someone else. So I think Dr. Alquist was wrong in saying that was not the point. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
All right, I'll do my very best to be on time, sir.
You better be.
Story of my life. Thank you, Pat.
We'll see you there. Bye.
Our great friend Pat from Middleton and the Pat from Middleton radio show. Everybody's getting her show. Tea Party Bob, Pat from Middleton. Who's next? Liberal Steve? What's that? Just be thankful that you can keep your job, Kevin. Duly noted. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And coming up, we continue the debate on CBD oil in the state of Idaho. Your calls are next. First, Jeff Manasso in Chicago with the very latest on an issue involving a Utah Veterans Hospital. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good to be with you.
Good to have you with us. I wish the story were better. We're talking about an investigation of a Utah hospital with the VA.
It's just another embarrassment for the VA. This post that went viral, the father of U.S. Army vet Christopher Wilson tweeted pictures of the Salt Lake City VA exam room that Chris Wilson was treated in. Wilson served 2 tours in Iraq. He was in the Army for 6 years. He had a podiatrist appointment back on April 5th at the Salt Lake City VA, and says that after waiting for about 45 minutes to see a doctor, that he was taken to a filthy room. I don't know if you've seen the pictures. I mean, it kind of looks like an art studio where there's material splattered all over the place, dirty bowls, dirty tools, a dirty sink, a trash bin that was overflowing. Though this wasn't an art studio, it was a room where our veterans are treated in, and so Wilson basically saying that he felt as if he was a hindrance and not a priority for the VA.
Right, they're even talking about raw DNA data in this room as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a hospital room, so of course you're going to get that.
Yeah, you have to wonder about this. Of course, it's big news all over the media in Salt Lake and throughout the West. Of course, the problems with the Veterans Administration, going back to the Obama administration. Heck, we could even go back, I guess, to the Bush administration. And Jeff, I'm sure you remember that story that the Washington Post did about Walter Reed back in the day.
Yeah, it's Walter Reed. Look, I've covered VA hospitals here in the Midwest. And in fact, one particular story out of Wisconsin, and the overprescribing of opioids. Leading in many cases to accusations that pushed our veterans to commit suicide. And so, again, it is another embarrassment. This just days after President Trump's pick for VA Secretary turned down that job amid Montana Democratic Senator John Tester's so far unsubstantiated allegations against him. And then, of course, prompting calls by President Trump and others for Tester to resign. So there's that. But the VA, that particular VA hospital in Salt Lake City, the chief of staff, Karen Gribben, she has apologized for the conditions of that room, calling it an abhorrent situation, but also saying that in the 6 years she's been there, that she's never had a patient complain about the condition of a room. She says that her staff is reviewing the situation and would be updating its procedure. She also cites this survey that apparently they give out to patients at the end of their visit that shows the VA is consistently receiving a 90% on its cleanliness category. So she's not saying that, while she says they messed up, she's not saying that, look, this is a staff shortage, this is, an ongoing problem that we tend to deal with, trying to do, more with less. She's just saying he just shouldn't have been brought into that room. And hopefully they'll make some changes, because this is a big deal, and it adds to the bigger narrative that the men and women who have fought for this country and sacrificed, that they deserve better.
They do indeed. Jeff Manasso, we always appreciate your insight into these tough stories. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, sir. 580-5436, 580-KIDO, our great friend Jeff Manasso. Remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio, 580 AM and 107.5 FM.
If you followed it in other states, you have heard some pretty compelling testimony from people who plead with lawmakers to legalize medical marijuana because of their particular medical need. So you don't see that might be, as Lieutenant Governor Brad Little is suggesting, that might lead us down that same path that other states have taken? Is that totally...
It has in almost every instance.
Dr. Alquist?
I do not at all. I've prescribed drugs my entire career, and many of those drugs came from plants. When you extract all of the THC out of marijuana, there is no hallucinogenic there. You just have the oil. It has been shown effective, and there's no reason why a physician cannot prescribe that. And that is not the Trojan horse. Our people need it. These kids need it. And to listen to big business and pharmaceuticals is embarrassing for our people.
So you're a doctor. If you're going to prescribe it, it has to be certified. If it's a nutrient supplement, which it could be, a doctor doesn't have anything to do with it.
Brad, you're getting political again.
I'm telling you the truth.
But what I'm telling you is then lead. Go find language that works where you can...
I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy of your statement.
That there's not hypocrisy. Where was the executive branch of government on this year after year?
We started this program here in Idaho.
You squashed go work with them, get the language right. But don't sit back and wait for a drug company to come in.
The pharmaceutical company.
There you have it. So you have Dr. Alquist telling the lieutenant governor to lead. The lieutenant governor, in his defense, saying it has to be certified. There has to be approval. And then you hear Congressman Labrador. Let's get to your calls. I know everybody's been very patient. Let's go to Bill in Cuna. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to tell you a little story if you don't have time. It'll be pretty fast. But anyway, I have a friend that works for Union Pacific Railroad in Baker City, Oregon, and they wanted to hire 5 people for a crew to repair the tracks. They had 115 people qualify and take the tests and come into the interview in Baker City, Oregon. And they had a meeting in the morning and everything, and the first thing they did after the meeting is at lunchtime, they said, okay, everybody go to lunch, come back, and we're going to do a UA, or a urinary test for drugs. That afternoon, only 7 people out of the 115 showed up.
What did you say, how many?
7 people out of the 115 showed up for that drug test. And that they hired 5 out of the 7. Now, when I don't mind even the UA oil being prescribed, but I think it should be like any other drug that comes through a pharmacy that's certified, that is going to be pure. I don't want anybody just being able to sell it out of the back of their house and say it's legal, and that's my opinion. And if it is prescribed by a doctor, it should be prescribed by just like anything else, like anything else that has a pharmacy that'll dish it out. That would be perfectly fine. But to say oh, I make CBD oil out of the back of my house, then what are you doing with all the other stuff, smoking it up? You know what I mean? And that's the kind of stuff that goes on when you get where we're legalizing medical marijuana. Matter of fact, I have relatives that won't move from Oregon because they can't give up their medical marijuana card, and there's nothing wrong with them at all. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's just my opinion, and I just want to let you know that it's ruining the employee pool in Oregon to be able to get somebody who you can trust not to kill somebody by not fixing a line on a railroad correctly. Okay?
Indeed. Thank you, Bill.
All right. Have a good day.
Good. You as well. Let's go to Lee in Boise, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Kevin. Regarding the debate in CBD oil, I think it needs a prescription like any other drug would need a prescription. And, you know, as medical marijuana needs a real doctor's prescription, not the magic card brought to you by your chiropractor or whatever that they do. Because it may have its own legitimate uses, but, you know, I can't see them, but I'm not suffering from cancer either. So during that debate, I saw Tommy Ahlquist up there, and he's owner of the Garner Company. And from what I see, there's two ways to get rich. There's one way is to get a little bit of money from a lot of people like Walmart does, and the other is to get a lot of money from the government. And I worked on a Garner project here recently, and they got $10.5 million of government money with the help of the Boise City Council and U.S. federal government grant money. And they built the entire foundation of that building with government money. And I would like a free basement built under my house with government money, and that's all deficit money. I'd like to know why Tommy thinks that's the right thing to do and the right way to be when we got a bus system that runs 6 people per bus and, no massive need for it, but there was some money out there that, we decided that the federal government was giving away at the cost of, trillions of dollars in deficit, and we got to go get it. That's what I want to know. And then my third thing is that Raul Labrador was talking about the cronyism, their last statements. Cronyism is rampant in the state legislature. I mean, when we tried E-Verify years ago, Raul, the whole state legislature rolled over to the Dairymen's Association, and they wouldn't do E-Verify. And we need to get rid of that undue influence by the big ag and the big businesses that just decide that they know best for the people in Idaho. And I thought the debate was very informative as to the character of all three of those individuals. And that's all I've got to say.
Lee and Boise, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. More of your calls next. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning here. Back to last night's debate from the Channel 7 website.
Companies are pretty much constraining this governor's office and will constrain Lieutenant Governor Brad Little from making the right decision on this, because they're going to make a lot of profit if we do it through their process instead of doing it for something that is actually proving to be effective. Medicinal marijuana is totally different. Medicinal marijuana actually gets people high. It has different properties than CBD oil, and I believe that the federal government should actually do studies on medicinal marijuana. But on this oil, there is no proof that it's going to lead to medicinal marijuana or to recreational marijuana, and I think they're using it as an excuse in that, and I think that excuse needs to end.
I want us to have time to talk.
There we go. So they cut that off. Let's go to Paul in Boise at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. How are you today?
Not bad. Yourself?
I'm doing okay. I was just listening because that's what I do. And I heard this Lee from Boise, and I just have a couple of quick questions. He made a pretty strong statement against Tommy Ahlquist making a profit off of federal grants and that he worked for the company. I'm just curious, why did he work for a company that he felt so strongly against what the company was doing? First question. And then the second question would be, if you look at how much those types of jobs cost, I'm pretty sure the guy wasn't making $10 an hour. And I'll bet you the vast majority of the money that was what that cost that thing was the employee prices. And that's probably why he worked for a company that was doing such a bad thing. Well, why did he work for them if they were doing such a bad thing? Just a question.
Paul, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now, the ever rambunctious publisher of the Gem State Patriot, Tea Party Bob.
Good morning, Kevin. Once again, we go back to the CBD oil, something I've been fighting for 3 years to get permitted for medicinal uses. I've written articles. I've had people on a radio show, on my radio show, your radio show. It seems like nobody ever gets it. The only reason it's not legal today is because the Otter administration, along with Brad Little, have stood in the way of making this life-saving product available to the many thousands of Idahoans who need it. What the governor has done, along with Brad Little and his crony legislator, is to hand over $100,000 of our tax money to a drug company to test a synthetic drug. Mind you, that just about all of the synthetic drugs have some sort of side effects and are 3, 4, and 5 times more expensive than standardized CBD oil. CBD oil has been around for years in other states without incident. And this talk about standardization is only a ploy to allow only the synthetic drug to be sold, not the natural drug, which is more efficacious. We have people suffering from various diseases like MS and epilepsy and other diseases that could be helped, and they're being denied the very help by those people they elected to protect them and their children. And it's all for a profit motive. CBD oil has little or no THC in it. And if it is made from cannabis, it may have small amounts. But if it's made from hemp, it doesn't have any. It's non-existent. So all this baloney about it being a gateway drug is just that, a lot of baloney. I think Brad has been smoking a little too much of this stuff himself. The legalization of CBD oil has been passed by the legislature and voted and vetoed by Otter. And this year, Otter got his henchman Hyder to put it in his drawer and not bring it out for a hearing. We need to stop the cronyism. We need to get rid of these bad political pawns who are controlled by the lobbyists and big business, and big pharma is one of the worst. I cannot believe that there are so many uninformed people about CBD oil and the standardization process. CBD oil is made from hemp. It's non-addictive. And the quality that we get here, made from reputable dealers, is better than the synthesized product. Again, the only reason the politicians want the synthesized product is because they have received campaign donations from these big pharma people for years. And this is nothing more than payback. Everything else is a lot of baloney. Tommy's a doctor, but where was he during the past 3 years when this fight was going on? At least Labrador voted to get this approved. I'm tired of this. Let's get the people out there and to understand the politicians are not telling you the truth. They're lying through their teeth. Let's get people to understand CBD oil is something that is needed. It's going to be prescribed. That's what the bill was all about.
All right, Tea Party Bob, thank you. Let's go to Tim in Twin Falls with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Kevin. Tea Party Bob is spot on. I'm somebody that uses the oil, the CBD oil, for about 3 months now. I have chronic pain, and I'm a truck driver. And so the opioid deal, we know what's going on right now with the war on those. So our doctors that treat people with chronic pain are cutting everybody back on a lot of the opioids. So he encouraged me to go ahead and try this, see if it helped me at all. he's all for it. Now, of course, I got to make sure it's the stuff with absolutely no THC, which this is. And I've been on it for 3 months now. I've actually been through drug tests. There does not make you flop a drug test in any way. And but there's absolutely nothing that would lead me to want to try the other marijuana, which I did 30 years ago.
Tim, great call. Thank you. And Andrew in Boise, Tim in Eagle, sorry we didn't get to you. Good day. God bless. Keep the faith, everyone. Glenn Beck is next. Stay tuned. Ray, great job.